Welcome, everyone. Thank you for tuning in for our opening day for Starry Night Arts Festival. You know, it's been a long week, so everyone that is tuned in right now, let's go ahead and ground ourselves and take one big breath together. All right. Inhale, exhale. Awesome. Thank you for taking that breath with me. All right. So, actually, I'm one of your MCs for tonight. My name is Ria Sampillo, she, her pronouns. I'm a second generation Filipino American, currently based in Houston, Texas. Aside from working for OCA, I also organize for the Filipinx community here in Houston under Filipino American Unity for Progress Texas chapter. And enough about me. I want to hand it over to my co-MC, co-organizer, Trisha Morales.
Yes, thank you, Ria, for introducing me, kind of. But let me introduce myself. Hi, everyone. My name is Trisha Morales. My pronouns are she, hers. I'm a 1.5 generation Filipino American based in Houston, Texas. I also organize for the Filipinx community with Unipro as the marketing director. And I'm one of the organizers for this festival and also your MC for the night. Y'all, we have an amazing lineup. So I can't wait to share that with you. But before we get into Starry Nite Arts Fest and the mission and vision, I want to make sure we highlight someone behind the scenes who's doing all of the amazing live stream production throughout this week and a half long event. This event would not be possible without her. So everyone, please welcome Maria Duran. Oh, yes. Oh, here.
Yay! No, y'all, I am so excited. It has been it's been a long week, and for y'all, and I know it has been like a very long couple of weeks. So thank you so much for just letting me be part of the event. And everyone, like, I seriously want to give a major shout out to these two because they are like the real brains and everything behind all of this, and it is incredible what they have like put together. So I just get to do the tech side, but like they've really put this entire program together. So Ria, Trisha, like y'all rock, and I can't wait. So I'm gonna go back here to the behind the scenes, and let's get it started. Well, y'all continue.
So before we begin Starry Night Arts Fest, I want to take a moment for a land acknowledgement. I want to personally share that I'm continuously learning and recognizing my own place in the history of colonization, working to unlearn any actions and behaviors that may silence others or perpetuate systemic oppression. I want to take part. And also encourage all of you to uplift and connect with the cultural legacies that existed and continue to exist here today. Within the festival theme of giving, we mentioned that we want to give space to unheard voices. This is our first step in honoring that throughout the festival. We acknowledge that we occupy stolen land. The lands that make up Texas are home to the Alabama Coshada tribe of Texas, the Kickapoo traditional tribe of Texas, the Ysleta del Sur Pueblo, the Lipan Apache tribe, and the Texas Band of Yaqui Indians. There are many more groups in Texas that are not mentioned, which means they are excluded from financial aid and resources. We acknowledge the many systemic erasure of these tribes and recognize they are still among us today. We acknowledge the peoples of these nations, their cultures, their communities, their elders, both past and present, as well as future generations. We acknowledge and offer deep gratitude to the land and waters on which we stand upon. If not in Texas at this moment, you can find whose land you occupy here on nativeland.ca, our home on native land. So thank you so much for taking that moment with us. And I want to hand it over to Trish for OCA's mission and vision.
Thank you, Ria, for doing that. So OCA-Greater Houston's mission is to advance the social, political, economic well-being of the AAPI community. We do this in so many programs, y'all. Even this year during the pandemic, we did so many things. So this year we launched Asian Restaurant Weeks, where we featured different AAPI local restaurant mom pop shop owners, restaurant owners and chefs. And our team was also part of the team that raised $100,000 to feed frontline workers while also providing revenues for these restaurants. This was in April and May. In June, we had our Happy Film Festival, which is a multi-day celebration of film. This year it was virtual, and again, it was to promote the AAPI creatives in the film and entertainment industry. Throughout the year, our team worked with high school and college youth to support them in their leadership development. We had our amazing outreach team, our lit dropping team that outreached to over 150,000 homes here in Houston for the census and for elections and voting. And of course, we had our racial justice workshops where we used film as a way to have deeper dialogue with our community. And with all these programs, please visit OCA-Houston.org to read all about it. And lastly, you guys are actually witnessing another program that we do yearly. Normally, it's actually in physical space. I'm gonna let Ria go over that, and she'll overview the mission and theme.
Thanks, Trish. So everyone, this is, of course, Starry Nite Arts Festival. And, you know, it's been running for a few years already. And essentially the mission and vision of Starry Nite Arts Fest is to locate Bel Air, Asiatown as an AAPI cultural destination for the arts. And through this programming, highlighting the performers, the artists, the small businesses, the entrepreneurs. And, you know, pre-COVID, you know, we all gathered on Corporate Drive, and it was essentially a night market filled with food, music, community, artists, and performers. And, you know, now during this time, we shifted virtually. And so, you know, this is a wonderful opportunity to also shift inward, right? And so with this, you know, particular Starry Nite Festival in the theme of giving, we decided to frame this festival within the theme of giving. And what do you mean by giving? So not only giving your time and efforts to others, but also taking a reminder to give back to yourself, right? So, you know, during this time, during these unprecedented times, we've been the community organizers have been supporting the community, have been working during COVID, and we've all had the performers and artists continuously creating during this time and uplifting folks with their works. And we wanted to take this arts festival to say thank you, and we want to remind you to take a step back and remind yourselves the impact that you've done so far. So very big thank you to the organizers, the artists, the performers, the spoken word artists, the small businesses, and everyone that has been, you know, going during this time. So throughout the festival, you will find that all who participated will be answering the question, how and in what ways do you or does your organization embody the word giving? And under the theme of giving, we wanted to break that up into several concepts, right? So giving tonight, giving back to the community, what that means, giving up old habits, meaning giving up things that no longer serve you, but inviting more healthier habits into your life, and giving space for unheard voices, and giving yourself time to heal. So I want to hand it off to Trish to explain how that looks like with our week-long programming. Go ahead, Trish.
Yes, thank you, Ria, for explaining our intention, our mission, vision, and the 4 concepts. Now I'm going to go over the schedule with y'all because we have so many people. We have such an amazing lineup. Please come support all these artists. We see all the comments on YouTube and Facebook, so please, as they perform, you know, give them, you know, all the love. But yeah, let's go over what we have in store. Today is the giving back to the community lineup. Tomorrow we have another live stream for giving up old habits from 6 to 8:30 CST. Sunday we will be screening Len Wynn's Fighting for Family from 3 to 3:30 CST, followed by Amy Malkin's Healing Through Walking Meditation, 4:30 to 5:30 CST. On Monday the 14th, we have a live stream with Keshav Kant called Manifesting Your Manuscript, the do's and don'ts of telling your own stories. Then after that, we have a workshop, a beginner's makeup and gender workshop by Jack Lamb, y'all. And remember, some of these workshops you actually have to register to attend. So please go to the website Starry Nite Arts Fest to register. All right, on Tuesday, we have another workshop with the founder of Wonton and a Million, Cynthia Koo. And then following her workshop is a live reading and Q&A with Kakalia Yang. On Wednesday, we have our live community panel from 6:30 to 8 p.m. On Thursday, we have another workshop with Keshav Kant as well. And then, excuse me, that was Wednesday, sorry. And on Thursday, we have a workshop with Just Song, Locating the Self, Emotional Navigation through Journaling from 6:30 to 8 p.m. CST. And on Friday, we have Kyle Fu's Origami Workshop that will be live streamed. And Friday night, we have another amazing lineup, y'all, for the concept under Giving Space for Unheard Voices. And it will be followed with a live Q&A. Saturday morning, we have free yoga sessions. And then Saturday evening, we have another amazing lineup with the concept Giving Yourself Time to Heal, plus live Q&A with all of these artists. And finally, Sunday, December 20th, we are showing our Asian American film screening from 1 to 6 p.m. CST. Wow. Y'all, are y'all ready for this? Okay, so let's start.
Thanks, Trish. I mean, that was a lot of information, but you can always go back to our Starry Nite Arts Fest website, and you can register to all those workshops. Oh, this look, it's right there. Right there. Go. Register to the workshops, tag or remind yourself. There's actually a tab for to access all of our live streams. So everything is found on the website. All right, well, let's begin. Okay, tonight we will be viewing submissions under the concept Giving Back to the Community. And so in this set, we have artists, performers, the author who will tell us how they give back to the community. All right. So Trish, can you introduce our first performer?
Absolutely. We have our first piece by Adam Mack, Ode to Bel Air, paying respects to the original space and place where Starry Nite was born.
Hi everyone, my name is Adam Mack and I use she, her pronouns. I'm a poet and performer based out of Houston, Texas, though right now I'm currently studying creative writing in Chicago. This year I embodied giving by being more involved in community education. Over the summer I taught K-12 writing workshops, and I'm currently in a program to help me learn a little bit more about teaching others. But thank you for sharing space with me today. The poem I'll be reading is called Ode to Bel Air. The scent greets you first, then the song. Clanging pans signal a spice-laden chorus, star anise, cinnamon, sesame, and chili flakes on sizzling beef. Even for newcomers, the smell of paradise is familiar. In Bel Air, everybody looks like me. Sharp tongue and wide smile, clever hands and keen eyes, we are a community of desire, where someone is always cooking. Japchae or biryani or dim sum served 2 tables down from a fish tank, and your uncle yelling, "Put down your wallet, Kim," as he races your mother to the cashier. We are home to a cacophony of tongues, share no language in grocery stores except the words money and mango. Down the street, the baker and your cousin, who are secretly in love, argue loudly over bread, while the auntie at the deli asks too many questions. Do you take care of your skin? Do you have a well-paying job? And most importantly, do you have a boyfriend? My son is single. In Bel Air, everybody knows everybody, which is to say that everybody is family. Every mom and pop shop owner, chain-smoking old man, and crooked smile kid knows your granny, and if not, someone like her. Weathered and resilient, like every elder that helped carve this place out of stone, we are endlessly hungry folk, perpetually foreign in our own homes, a neighborhood for fools who want to dip their foot in gold, who joke that in Bel Air, everybody looks like me. We are open mouths, aching for promises. A collective of burning stars, generations of island and desert and boat people remaking the heavens, and ain't it marvelous? How our light never dies, how our buildings still glow brightly, how we push ourselves to blossom out of concrete, potholes and cracked sidewalks overflowing with lotus. This is a kingdom of little miracles. We're always searching for more. We, a parade of lion dancers kicking at the blazing sun, our laughter ripe as the sweetest fruit. We need no approval for joy, just each other and dreams, tucked into our pockets, folded carefully in our fists, served with every warm plate, each one a heartfelt vow to live radiantly.
Yes, Adam, I am so hyped. I mean, Kingdom of Little Miracles. Thank you for giving folks a glimpse of Bel Air. Actually, I want to take it up to Chinatown on the East Coast, actually where I'm originally from. Grew up in New York and New Jersey and visited Queens, New York, and Chinatown very often to visit my grandparents. Tonight, you will experience an excerpt from this author's book, Year of the Dog. Everyone, Henry Chang.
Hi, I'm Henry Chang, author of the Detective U crime mystery series, set here in New York City, Chinatown, where I live. Currently, I'm writing and producing Chinatown stories, and today I'm going to be reading from my second book, Year of the Dog, where our good Detective U is struggling with New York City crime during this very holiday period. And I'm really happy today to be supporting the Starry Nite Festival in the sense of giving back my creative process to create stories about real Chinatown people, real stories that are not stereotypes and caricatures. And this story is about how we as Asian Americans live in this country. So I've also written other stories and have given writing workshops for free and donated books to worthy causes. So there's a lot of things that we can all do in terms of giving back to the community. And so at this point, I'd like to give a shout out to all the good people in the Greater Houston OCA who are doing all the good work, from the on-ground organizers to the youth, to the artists, to the local nonprofits, and to the community organizations that you work with. We can all do something. Congratulations for the good work you do, and keep up the good work. Right on. And now I'm going to read. From Year of the Dog, this chapter is called Precious. Bo was indebted to the snakeheads, one of many thousands who were paying off a $30,000 deal with Chinese human traffickers for passage to America. The deal involved bogus passports, fraudulent paperwork, and sometimes the promise of jobs. The illegals placed relatives in China as human collateral against breaking the contract. Bo John was 28, already considered an old lady when she married a factory worker 10 years older than herself. This was during the times of the one-child policy. Bo had wanted a child, and her husband, Guok, grudgingly agreed that a child would be okay if it were a boy. The option of an abortion was already in the back of his mind. It was a girl. The marriage quickly became strained. Kwok wanted to give up the baby girl to an orphanage, as many Chinese had done. He hoped that they'd have another chance at a coveted baby boy. Bo could not bear the thought. The orphanages were flooded with baby girls. Americans who had declined to adopt Black American babies were flocking to China to adopt yellow babies as fast as they became available. China was selling its unwanted excess population at $10,000 in adoption. This new global baby trade was sanctioned and legal. The Asian women sex slaves who arrived packed in the holds of cargo ships had no such protection. Rather than allowing the clan bloodline to end, Kwok abandoned his wife and child before the baby girl was even a year old. Bo took her daughter back to her family village near the Pearl River, and there a series of unsuccessful relationships with local villagers caused her to lose hope of a future for her in China, where she would be doomed to wind up a spinster with a mother and a young daughter to care for. She began to hope for a new start in America. After the girl's third birthday, Bo left alone, smuggled by snakeheads to New York City by way of Canada. Now, after 2 years of slaving in Chinatown, she was still struggling to pay off her passage, the specter of prostitution ever present. At first, the snakeheads tried to convince her to become a whore, to work for an escort service, saying it was a much easier way to repay the debt, adding that she was not such a young woman anymore. She had politely declined their offers and never bowed to their intimidation. Bo explained to these heartless men with no souls that she was a devout Buddhist and prostitution was a grave sin. The snakeheads ridiculed her, called her crazy, cheesy, but by slogging through a succession of small jobs, she managed to pay her monthly installment to them without fail. She worked in a Chinatown bakery during the day, supplementing her salary with piecework, chunju, at home, where she strung beads into necklaces or assembled gift baskets. The payments to the snakeheads continued, as did the funds she wired to her mother and daughter in Toisan. After the year, the bakery job became a supermarket cashier post, which became a gift shop clerkship, the jobs declining in desirability, requiring longer hours for less pay. So, in rapid succession, she snipped threads off piecework in a sweatshop, pushed the steamy dim sum wagon in a restaurant, gutted tilapia in a fish market. On Canal Street, she hawked knockoff designer handbags, and in between, she washed hair and swept up the shorn locks that piled up beneath the rotating chairs in the barber shops that lined Doyer Street. She taught herself how to cut men's hair and learned to include a free 10-minute neck and shoulder massage. Bo had detected sadness in the man and the men that came to visit her as she cut hair, and still now in this older man who she guessed was about 25 years her senior. She felt sorry for him and tried to cheer him up with clever sayings and giving him 5 extra minutes of a shoulder massage. The Buddhist talisman she had given him had been one of several that she carried that ward off the sex slave snakeheads. She told him it would protect him in his travels. This man's haircut, Saigo, his hair hadn't required much imagination. Years of administration by Chinho's barbershop on Doyer Street had shaped his hair into a military-style crew cut, the sides trimmed very tight to the skull, the top about an inch long and angled back. She rubbed some gel into the top so the sheen would disguise the grayness of his hair. He looked younger than a man in his 50s, she thought, although this day he looked tired, a bit distant, and his mind drifting elsewhere. When she saw him in the mirror, Saigo was a beat-up, baggy-eyed, 59-year-old, massive wrinkles, worry lines etched into his brow. 59 he was? The numbers 5 and 9, Mgao, sounded like not enough. Mgao. True, he thought. Not enough time and not enough luck. It's the massage, he heard Bo saying, still teasing. Must be I give a better massage, huh? She put her thumbs into the depressions at the base of his skull and worked the nerves, then followed with hands firmly grabbing, kneading the musculature and cords inside the back of his neck. Bo's pressing and digging, pushing and rubbing forced his inner energy, his chi, to circulate. And finally, she balled her fist and pounded his back, playing the drum, it was called. After Saigo left the new Canton shop, Bo had begun to sweep up the hair on the floor around her station when she noticed the folded square of paper directly underneath the chair. It was a prescription card with notations she didn't understand from the Tang pharmacy on Mott Street. Folded along with the card was a piece of notepaper from Chinatown Imaging, and the Chinatown Imaging note was the word chemotherapy with appointment dates and previous weeks. They all seemed to be Thursdays. Below the dates was a scribble of Chinese words, several of which he understood to mean cancer and radiation. A freezing wind swept into the salon and Bo quickly glanced toward the door. But she knew that Saigo was long gone. She stepped out into the cold street anyway, looking both ways to make sure he wasn't still in sight. Back inside the shop, she tucked the papers in her pocket and reminded herself to return them to him on his next visit. She realized then why Saigo had missed his last trim, and though she hadn't noticed any hair loss, he did appear fatigued, quieter than usual. The word radiation lingered in her mind, and she considered whether there was another talisman she could give him that could prevent the pain of cancer. The next day, Bo crossed the Bowery toward the long blocks of jewelry stores that ran down the north side of Canal Street. 50 shops named Treasure Diamonds, Lucky Star Jewelry, Royal Princess, Golden Jade, Canal National Gems with their lights blazing from their windows. She always made her payments on Sunday, the first Sunday morning of every month, as soon as the stores opened, so she wouldn't be delayed by the customers. Almost to Mulberry Street, she paused at the bulletproof glass door of the Fuling Jewelry and Jade and waited to be buzzed in. The Fuling's street windows displayed a dazzling array of diamond rings, bracelets, necklaces, and custom setups mounted with rubies and emeralds, all gleaming under the brilliant halogen lights. There were trays of gold medallions, racks of thick, glittering chains, and a section of rich green jade pieces, some carved and beaded into pendants. She stepped into the dry heat spreading from the lights and went past the display counters along the walls. The bald-headed Chinese man sat alone in the back end of the store, his fat bottom propped against a wooden stool. He twisted his frown into a half sneer, half smile, removing his finger from the remote door button as he watched Bo approach. Her eyes avoided his. Hamsuk was how she was first introduced to him, her contact for remitting the monthly payments. And that was how she addressed him regularly now, always reminded how the spoken Chinese word sounded like Hamsup, the horny old lech. The name fit him well, she thought. Hamsuk was 60, obese, and reeked of the pork dumplings and curry chicken that he loved so much. He had a big head with reptilian features, thin lips, hooded eyes, and a flat nose. Bo pictured him, this snakehead, each time she prepared her payment envelope. This time, he'd worn the cheap gray rayon shirt with a design of tigers and eagles dueling in the background. He smirked, leering at her when she handed him the envelope of money. Bo always kept the exchange brief, waiting just long enough to see him make the notation in his book. She didn't want to engage him in conversation, knowing where it would lead. Lang Noi, he called her, pretty woman. You look tired, he said in a slithery voice. How are things with you? Fine, Bo answered evenly. Thank you. Have you reconsidered our offer, he asked, the snake tongue licking his lips. They had wanted her to whore for them, had promised her a choice of regulars, clean-cut family men who were easy to please. Easy work, they said, money for laying on your back. No, thank you, Bo repeated as he counted out the money, then made a notation in his black book. Seeing this, Bo turned for the door. The old lech swallowed back his lust, his eyes keening to the soft sway of her backside as she made her pause before buzzing her out. Lang Noi, he chortled. See you next month, pretty sister. Outside the Fuling, Bo took a deep breath, welcoming the cool breeze that swept down Canal Street. She felt better as she walked, thinking of a small sunny village in the south of China, picturing her daughter and her mother there, half a world and 3 lifetimes away. If you want to know the rest of their stories, I guess you're going to have to read the book. So once again, congratulations to Greater Houston OCA. Keep up the good work. Right on, and I hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much, Henry, for writing our stories and using real life narratives from Chinatown in your books. I saw a lot of people saying so many things in the YouTube comments. So yes, please, please support Henry. Go to Chinatown Trilogy right here, and please buy his books and support him. Thank you again, Henry. Now, let's bring it back down to the South and let's talk about who's making big moves in our community. He creates space for all artists and creatives. Everyone, please welcome Matt Manalo.
Hi, my name is Matt Manalo. I'm an artist and a community organizer. I was born and raised in Manalo, Philippines, and has called Houston, Texas home since 2004. I received my BFA in painting at the University of Houston. I ran a community-based alternative art space called the Alief Art House, and I founded Philippine X Artists of Houston in 2019. I create work which involves elements of painting, drawing, sculpture, photography, and printmaking. Being a first-generation immigrant, I discuss my experiences navigating around the physical and social structures of society while exploring social issues like erasure, colorism, and colonial mentality. The Alief Art House is a shipping container found in the grounds of the Alief Spark Park and Nature Center. It is an alternative art space with a focus on community building. I decided to start this project because being a resident of Alief since my family and I immigrated here in the US, I have found that there was not any kind of art movement going on in the neighborhood. Alief is known as the most diverse district in the city of Houston, and I found it strange that there was not any kind of space existing. Most people visit Alief because it's also part of Chinatown and other businesses, and I wanted to also be a place to visit for art. A lot of folks do road trips to Marfa, and you can get to Alief from downtown in 30 minutes, depending on the traffic, of course. My first year was dedicated to introducing myself to the community as an artist, and I worked with creatives I already knew who lived, worked, or have deep connections to the neighborhood. From that, we also started the Community Weaving Project, which is made possible by a giant loom, which my good friend Danny Wen, who's a fashion designer, built for the art house. This year, I've collaborated with nationally celebrated and talented artist Antonio Spooey for Installations Fellowship with the Art League of Houston. Together we have shown works by other artists, and our programming will continue on till March of 2021. I've also collaborated with local nonprofit organizations like Hope Clinic, Well Projects, Alief Community Fridge, and other nonprofit organizations based in Alief. For me, having a space is a privilege, and being able to give access to that space for other artists, creatives, and communities. That is the goal of the Alief Art House, to build relationships through art while creating a sustainable community.
Matt, you are such an inspiration and you do so much. Thank you so much for all you do. Folks, when you get the chance, scope out the Alief Art House at Alief Spark Park. It's outdoors. Check out the current work on the container called The Blackout by Kendra Gilbert. All right. Well, quick. Oh, this is that was Matt's handle and a website. Go check it out, Alief Art House. Quick plug. I mean, if y'all don't know me, but I love coffee. So I do want to plug in one of my local favorites, Rasa Libre Coffee. We actually there you go. We actually collaborated with them back in October for our community journey for Filipino American History Month. OCA, Unipro funds, we all collaborated for that event. And I love their mission. Check them out, please. I currently have their blend, the Freedom Blend. They will be featured in our marketplace on our website. So check them out, buy some coffee, and yeah. Without further ado, I would love to introduce another artist that has been giving back to the community and collaborating in the Houston community, Terence.
Hey y'all, my name is Terence Tang, and I am currently a freelance designer and artist based in Houston, Texas. I'm really excited to be invited here by OCA to participate in this year's Starry Nite Arts Festival and talk to you guys a little bit about how my work gives back to the community. So one of the main projects that I'm known for as an artist is my Humankind project. That originally started as a collaboration between myself and a shirt printing company called Real Thread. They reached out and asked if I would like to collaborate on a t-shirt design that would give back to a charity of my choice. And at the time, there were a lot of mass shootings happening. It seemed like they were happening almost every week. So that kind of became the driving force of creating Humankind. I wanted to send the message that we as people should not be afraid of each other's differences. We should embrace our differences, and that's what makes us all beautiful and unique. And so I just wanted to create a t-shirt that kind of spreads that message and reminds everyone to have a little bit more compassion and understanding. The fundraiser did so well that I wanted to keep the project going afterwards. So we kept it going, and we've since been able to donate to organizations like the Me Too movement and Families Belong Together and the National Compassion Fund. And last year, I was able to extend this project with a little bit of help from Nike. So Nike invited me along with a bunch of other artists to collaborate on a sneaker design that would tell a story. Naturally, the story that I wanted to tell was the Humankind story. We were able to pick a shoe and design a colorway of that shoe. So this is the resulting shoe. It was available on Nike's website for about 10 days. And it was definitely a dream come true for me to be able to have my own shoe on Nike's website for a little bit. But I was really excited to be able to tell the Humankind story with these shoes. And so if you look on the back of the shoes, you can see Humankind written on the back. And the color of the shoes is inspired by compassion and humility and gratitude. So from this project, I received a small cut of the sales, and that cut was donated directly to an organization called Think Kindness. And they're an organization that promotes small acts of human kindness and creating habits around that. So great organization, and I was really thrilled to be able to, one, create a shoe with Nike and have that mean something and go back to a greater cause. Another project that we completed earlier this year was a collaboration with a local organization called Friends of North Richmond. I had a lettering design that I had done that was inspired by Hurricane Harvey and its effects on the city of Houston. And I created a lettering of the word together because I was really inspired by the way Houstonians came together and worked together to help each other during that really hard time of Harvey. And so I had this lettering, and I thought it would make the perfect lettering for the mural. So I donated the art to them, and they were able to get it up on the wall, and I was able to come out and donate a little bit of time to help them paint it. And they also had kids come out and paint it, volunteers come out, and it took a little while to get it completed, but I'm really excited to have something like this up on a wall that's huge, that's able to communicate a message like that. And the most recent kind of giving back project that I worked on was over the tail end of the NBA season that was happening in the bubble. I wanted to donate my time to customize sneakers that would help spread the word of Black Lives Matter movement. I just reached out on Facebook to see if anyone happened to have any connections to NBA players, and a friend reached back out and said, yeah, I can help you out. So I was able to get a couple of custom shoes done for Houston Rockets players that had Black Lives Matter messaging on it, for a message that has so much meaning and so much weight to it. I was really humbled to be able to participate in something like that, where not only I got to see my art on an NBA court, but it really meant something. Like, it wasn't just, you know, an NBA player liking Ren and Stimpy, so they wanted Ren and Stimpy shoes. Like, this was about spreading a message of social justice and compassion and togetherness. So it was really humbling to be able to cross that off the bucket list, but also have it mean so much. So thank you guys so much for giving me the time to highlight some of these projects that I've been working on that have given back to the community. I'm always looking for opportunities to give back. It's definitely a driving force in my business and what I do. It means a lot to me. So thank you so much for giving me this platform, and big shout out to OCA again for having me out. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the festival. Thank you.
Terence, you are so amazing. Your work is so dope and it's so amazing. One thing that Terence had mentioned that resonated with me was we as people should not be afraid of each other's differences. We should embrace our differences, and that's what makes us all beautiful and unique. Absolutely. With a specific brand t-shirt, Art Humankind, it reminds us to be more compassionate and understanding. Thank you, Terence, for truly embodying the concept of giving back to the community by supporting the Black Lives Matter movement, that Me Too movement, the Families Belong Together, the National Compassion Fund, and many other collaborations that you are doing with your work. Thank you so much. So speaking of support, let's welcome our next artist who is supporting our youth and creating safe and healthy learning environments. Everyone, please welcome Ashley Wang.
Hello everyone, my name is Ashley and I graduated from UT Austin last year studying music. Currently, I am self-employed with my very own cello studio. I originally had the plans of becoming a public school orchestra director. However, due to the pandemic, I decided to fulfill my long-term dream of building up my own cello studio a little earlier. I'm based in Austin, Texas, and I am so passionate about inspiring my students to strive to be the best they can be and to encourage personal, musical, and professional growth. I embodied giving this year by reaching out to the community and providing my services to teach music to students of all ages and abilities. I have also embodied giving this year by creating a safe and healthy learning environment for students who can express themselves through music, especially during this tough time. I would like to thank my family and friends for supporting me and my future endeavors. I'm so grateful to OCA-Greater Houston for providing me this wonderful opportunity to showcase my performance to you guys. Today, I'll be playing two pieces for you, and the first one is called Cantabile by Paganini, who wanted this piece to be shared by all of his friends. And the second piece is a famous tune called Simple Gifts, and it was considered a gift song to be received by the Shaker people. Thank you, everyone, and I hope you enjoy these two pieces about giving.
Thank you, Ashley, for sharing your gift of music. Ashley's mission is so near and dear to my heart. I truly do feel her passion in providing a safe space for students to learn and express themselves. If I had kids interested in the cello, I will definitely send them to her. So check her out at ashleywangmusic.com. Yeah, I would love to introduce our next artist. I absolutely love her. I mean, I have like she's making a super deep impact in the Houston community right now. It is an honor, really. Royal Sumikat.
Hey everyone, my name is Royal Sumikat. Pronouns are she, her. I am an artist here in Houston and also a community organizer. I am in Filipinx Artists of Houston. And I'm an immigrant. I immigrated here in 1995 with my family. I'm from the Philippines. I was born and raised there, moved to Saudi Arabia before coming here. I was asked how I embody giving, so I'm freestyling this. I kind of had to start a few times. So I embody giving because I participate in a mutual aid group that serve unsheltered community members here in Houston. Every Sunday we cook home-cooked meals for them, and we distribute the food, essentials, clothes that we've that were donated to us. And we do this because they are a part of the community. We don't ask how they became unsheltered or why. We just want to serve them because everybody deserves that. And under capitalism, homelessness is a tool. So another way that I embody giving is me giving back to the land. During the pandemic, I built this garden in the span of a few months. Everything is kind of crunchy right now because it's, winter time or getting there. And so I want to give back to the land because the land has been so generous to me. Being a custodian of the land is how I embody giving, and it's a mutual relationship that I have with them. And the first piece that I have, I'm gonna share it here soon, is called Ancestral Giants, and here it is. So this piece was digitally painted in Procreate. I was inspired by the Filipino mythology that whenever our ancestors reincarnate, they come back as crocodiles. So whenever we see crocodile symbolism in our reality, it's a sign that our ancestors are trying to communicate with us. This is kind of a self-portrait depicting that we stand or sit on the shoulders of giants, and the giants being our ancestors. I would not be here without them. I'm basically the product of their resilience and their survival, and I owe it to them to cultivate a deep relationship in order for me to align with my path in the world. So that's what I was trying to depict here, and I hope it's noticeable. This piece was also digitally painted in Procreate, and it's called Jupiter's Devotee. When the intention of this painting was to anthropomorphize the different weathers. So I wanted to see what thunder and lightning looked like if it was a person. And it's called Jupiter's Devotee because Jupiter is the god of thunder and lightning, and the hand signs that she's doing is about to palmistry. So whenever you put your fingers like that, it's kind of like the mudra for Jupiter. Yeah. So those are the pieces that I am sharing for Starry Night, and I hope you liked it.
Wow, Royal. Thank you for being a role model and truly embodying our entire theme of giving, not just giving back to the community, but giving inwardly. Thank you so much for all the work that you do, truly. And speaking of role models, our next artist is doing his best to become an ideal role model for the younger generation. I know earlier in the chat, it was blowing up on YouTube. Y'all, please welcome AJAY with his original song, Hearts.
feather, flowing in the weather. Hearts beating loud, cause we are together. Lighter than a feather, flowing in the weather. Hearts beating loud, cause we are together. We're looking up at the stars, I got you all in my arms. Nervous 'cause I'm with you tonight. Angel from the heavens, got all of the sevens. Lucky to have you by my side. Our eyes meet and time has stopped. Felt like it was just the two of us. Hearts are dancing to the loudest beat, and our hearts are forever inside of me. I'll shout your name, 'cause you are all I need. So come with me, I promise I will never leave. Baby, I am wanting you more, 'cause I have never felt this way before. All our problems disappeared in autumn. When I met you, it made my heart blossom. Laughing all night and drinking till tomorrow, wishing our time will never end in sorrow. Our eyes meet and time has stopped. Felt like it was just the two of us. Hearts are dancing to the loudest beat, and our hearts are forever inside of me. I'll shout your name, 'cause you are all I need. So come with me, I promise I will never leave. Lighter than a feather, flowing in the weather. Hearts beating loud, 'cause we are together. Lighter than a feather, flowing in the weather. Hearts beating loud, 'cause we are together.
Yo, that was so good. The chat is so live right now. I'm so hype. Oh man. Okay, so that was AJ. I know he didn't get to introduce himself earlier, but he's actually a part of the OCA lit dropping team.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, so they were actually part of the on the ground team, making sure information was accessible for all the folks to fill out the census and to register to vote. Again, he is an upcoming singer and songwriter, inspiring to be a role model for the younger generation through his music, as you saw. That was so like, I was, yeah.
All right.
Anyway, before we have the opportunity to meet all of the artists, all of the performers, and of course the author here today, I would love for us to highlight a few of our community organizations.
Hello, my name is Nikki McDonald, and I am the director of the American Indian Center of Houston. Our offices opened on February 29th of this year, just a couple of weeks before the pandemic. Here at the American Indian Center of Houston, we devote ourselves to enhancing the Native American community through personal, social, health, and cultural development. We are working hard for our community so we can make an impact in the lives of all and strengthen our communities for future generations. Since our opening, we have worked purposefully to give back to our community through providing resources such as PPE equipment, meals for elders, and connecting the community with much needed resources due to COVID-19. In the new year, we will be offering community workshops and gatherings so all can share in the cultures, languages, and traditions of Native Americans. One of our goals this year was to make sure the voices of the Native American community were heard. We participated in a voter engagement campaign partnered with the National Urban Indian Family Coalition to remind the community that democracy is indigenous. I'm proud to say that more Native Americans used their voice in the 2020 election than any other year. This would not have been possible without the assistance of all the volunteers and organizations that give so much time and spend countless hours working in our communities. So I would like to say thank you to all that participated in voter engagement campaigns this year. We look forward to continuing our efforts until every voice is heard. I would also like to say thank you to the Greater Houston area for your warm reception and offerings of assistance as we look forward to 2021.
For BBSOS, the biggest factors for our work has always been the community. And this year we call to support our community in situations that we never been tested before. When the pandemic first struck, we thought of how we could support our community in their time of need. Chúng tôi hiểu rõ những nhóm dân nào cần giúp đỡ nhất, đó là những người bệnh và những người cao niên, nên chúng tôi đã hợp tác cùng với Sở Cảnh sát Houston và Hiệp hội Sinh viên Y khoa Việt Nam của Đại học UH tổ chức các buổi trao quà từ thiện cho người dân. Và chúng tôi đã trao hàng trăm gói quà cho hàng trăm người cao niên với sự giúp đỡ của cộng đồng. Chúng tôi đã làm việc không ngừng nhằm đem đến các thông tin chính xác và kịp thời về dịch Covid, như là những nơi quý vị có thể xét nghiệm Covid, các triệu chứng quý vị cần chú ý, thực hiện các chương trình trợ giúp về thuê nhà hay là hóa đơn. Do khu vực này không có nhiều tổ chức nói tiếng Việt, nên chúng tôi cố gắng trở thành nguồn thông tin và kiến thức hữu ích cho cộng đồng Việt Nam. BBSOS luôn phục vụ cộng đồng tốt nhất vì chúng tôi biết cộng đồng chúng tôi cần. Xin cảm ơn.
So those were our two community organizations we wanted to highlight tonight. And throughout the festival, we will be highlighting all of our community partners and organizations. And we will actually be having a community panel next week. Again, please stop by the website to look at that live stream link. That's our website one more time. All right. And actually, we're going to head into our Q&A live session. So, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So all of our artists, performers, and authors going to be all in one room talking about their work and how they give back to the community in much more detail. And to help us do that tonight, I would love to introduce the wonderful Abby Trino as our facilitator for tonight. So Abby is an OCA-Greater Houston fellow working to revive, oh, there she goes, right here. Oh, right there, girl. Working to revive the junior high school affiliate program of OCA-Greater Houston while pursuing her CAP-M certification. A graduate of the University of Texas at Austin, she discovered her love of developing relationships and providing space for meaningful conversations with others on the 40 acres. She has a strong passion for listening to other people's stories and working together to find not a compromise, but a collaboration. Being a first-generation immigrant from the Philippines, having interned in Japan and working with several AAPI organizations, she has become an advocate for building bridges between people of all backgrounds and a voice that promotes diversity and cultural appreciation. In her free time, Abby enjoys cooking, singing, socially distanced, dancing, and finding picture-perfect moments to caption with her thoughts on Instagram. Everyone, this is Abby Trino. Go ahead, take it away, Abby.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Rhea. And first of all, thank you so much for having me on here tonight. It's such a pleasure to be here, and honestly, an honor to just get to meet them, meet the performers and artists and one of our authors, just, here on this virtual platform. So I'm going to introduce the first panelist that we have tonight. We have Matt Manalo. He is an artist, as you may recall. He is an artist and community organizer born and raised in Manila, Philippines, but is called Houston, Texas, home since 2004. He received his BFA in painting at U of H and runs a community-based alternative art space called the Alief Art House and founded the Philippine Artists of Houston. Matt creates work which involves elements of painting, drawing, sculpture, photography, and printmaking. As a first-generation immigrant, Matt discusses his experience navigating around the physical and social structures of society while exploring social issues like erasure, colorism, and colonial mentality in his work. And you can see in the bottom right of the screen where you can find him, where to contact him, and the rest of his handles at Matt Manalo and at Alief Art House. The next artist we have is Terence Tang. He's a lettering artist and designer from Houston, Texas. He helps brands communicate with their audiences via impactful murals, custom lettering, and bold merchandise design. He's also a full-time family man, a huge basketball fan, and a bit of a sneakerhead, which you may have seen some of his shoe designs. They look amazing. Next up, we have Ashley Wang. Ashley is a cellist and pianist who graduated from the University of Texas at Austin with a Bachelor's of Music in Music Studies and has studied the cello for over 14 years and piano for over 10 years under the tutelage of Dr. Emmanuel Lopez, Dr. Beyonce, Tang, Dr. Kemmerling, and more. During her time at UT Austin, she founded the first freshman-only piano trio and also toured with the West Texas A&M University Symphony Orchestra in Prague, Vienna, and Budapest as assistant principal cellist. Ashley is a registered Suzuki cello teacher and is licensed to teach music in public schools. As a teacher in the UT String Project Program and student teacher at Round Rock ISD, she has gained many years of teaching experience with different playing levels and ages, ranging from 3 years old to 18 plus years old. To learn more about Ashley's studio or even book a lesson or two, you can visit her website at ashleywangmusic.com. See it right at the bottom of the screen. And next up, we have an artist who needs no introduction, Royal. She's self-taught mixed media artist with commission, mural, and group exhibition art experience, as well as knowledge and understanding in exhibition planning, community organizing, and curatorial administration. And we will see her a little bit later. And then we have also another musician. We have AJAY. AJAY is a pop artist with hints of R&B and alternative. He was influenced by Justin Bieber, Sam Smith, Ed Sheeran, Love, and Keshi. He has been singing all his life but never got into creating music until earlier this year. He wasn't sure what he wanted to do in life until music came along. Music was a huge life changer for him and helped him get through many struggles in his adolescent years. He creates music and strives to be a role model for the younger generation through his music. As a role model that people could follow, he hopes to help others get through their own struggles in life. Now, he's been enhancing his craft and trying to be the best singer he can be so that one day he could be one of the top artists in the world. So watch out for him. By doing so, he can reach many more people through his music and hopefully help them through their battle against their own demons. And we also had Henry and his Royal online. And we also have Henry, yes. Henry is a New Yorker, a native son of Chinatown and the Lower East Side. His poems have appeared in the seminal Yellow Pearl anthology and in Gangs in New York's Chinatown. He has written for Bridge magazine, and his fiction has appeared in On a Bed of Rice and in the New Eurasian anthology. His debut novel, Chinatown Beat, garnered high praise from the New York Times Book Review, the Boston Globe, the Washington Post, among others. You can see at the bottom of the screen where to find more info on him and purchase his works. And we are now welcoming Royal.
Hey.
Hi, Royal. No, you're all good. As we said, she's a self-taught mixed media artist with so much experience, and I know that she has a lot of experience under her belt and just is doing amazing work from her videos. So please welcome Royal. Thank y'all, everyone. So just real quick, I just want to have, a fun time with all of y'all here. And yeah, first things first, thank y'all so much for just giving your time and spending your time being here with me and really just sharing your experience. I think a first question just to start the night off, and this is for anybody and everyone. How's everyone feeling and how has your week been?
I look forward to this panel all week, so I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, it's been a kind of a whirlwind of a week, but yeah, very happy to be here. Very humbled to be among a group of such talented people. So yeah, I'm excited. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. So just as you see here, we have different people from different art schools. It's kind of like what Terence said, we shouldn't be afraid of each other's differences, but embrace them. That spoke very loud and proud to my heart. And all the people here specialize in some type of art form, whether it's painting, digitally painting, writing, music. These are all ways you express yourself. So I think I would like, if you could think back to your first writing, your first art piece, or your song, when you first did that, was this something that you thought would be your job or your career later on? I think I would like to direct that question to Matt.
Hi. Actually, I remember, drawing when I was a kid. I was one of those kids that would start sketching on books, and you would just find, my parents would just find like surprise scribbles inside the pages. But no, I never thought that I would be working as a full-time artist or a community organizer as a kid, or even when I was already a young adult of because I was already 19 when I moved here. I was already in college. I was pursuing computer engineering. And then when my family and I moved here, I was convinced by my relatives to take on nursing, and that didn't work out. So I told my parents that I wanted to do something that I was really passionate about, and it has always been art. I knew that my heart was with art, corny, but whatever. Yeah, and just from that moment of kind of like hitting rock bottom with just failing with college and everything, I figured that if it was something that I was passionate about, then there was no way that I was going to fail. There was no way that I was going to lose motivation. And yeah, now we're here, and I've been truly blessed, and I'm grateful for that journey.
Wow, thank you so much. I had no idea that you were, into computer engineering and then the nursing. That sounds very relatable. I think a question for you though is, you founded Philippine X Artists of Houston, and then you have the art house. So when did you come up with that idea?
The whole idea of Philippine X Artists of Houston has probably been simmering in my head for like more than 10 years, because I was already, an artist, and I was showing my work, and I was, meeting other people, networking and all that. And for some reason, I didn't know anyone who was Filipino that was in the same, I guess, career as I was. And for the longest time, I've just been waiting for that community to happen. And I basically just lost my patience, and I found the opportunity to bring it up. It happened when the Asia Society was, they had a Filipino show, and it was artists from California and New York. And I was introduced to Bridget Bray, who is the head curator of Asia Society. And I brought it up to her. I was like, hey, we also have Filipino artists here in Houston, and I was wondering if she was interested in kind of collaborating with me, and we could figure out of how we can make this community happen. And so, we had our first meeting, and it was I met a lot of new folks that I never thought were artists, and for some reason, we were all looking for the same thing. And it's been great so far, and I'm so grateful for everyone who's part of Philippine X Artists of Houston. They're just family, and it's almost the same thing with the Alief Art House. Both has come from that yearning for that community, because my family and I moved to Alief in 2004, and that's when we moved here to the United States. Everything was there. There's food, there's a lot of different communities, there's culture, but there just wasn't anything that was art related. And I figured, because Diverse Works put out an open call for a fellowship of projects which can be art based in your neighborhood, then I thought that was like the perfect opportunity for me to open an art space in Alief. So, so I purchased a shipping container through my stipend, and the rest is history.
Wow, thank you so much. And we also have two other artists here on the panel. I think I want to ask Royal, in your bio, you talked about how you're self-taught. What did that process look like in learning and honing your craft?
So self-taught meaning like the furthest I've gotten in my education in art was probably like, high school art class where I was just kind of like drawing or whatever. But afterwards, I didn't make art for a really long time, and it kind of like sent me into a depressive state because I didn't have like an outlet. And then I had that awareness that like I used to do art and I had a good time and I was in a better mental space. And so being self-taught means, learning how to do spray paint, paint murals via spray paint. And, I've had other artists support and teach me things. I mean, I guess I'm not really self-taught, but more like I wasn't taught by an institution. The people were always teaching, who was happy to teach, and I'm grateful for the elders of these mediums that were able to show me what they have, and so I was able to hone it in with the help of my community.
Oh, thank you so much. So as far as making it in Houston or starting your career, Henry, actually, I have a question for you. That was an amazing read, by the way. Now I was kind of on the edge of my seat and, having a tab open to buy your book. But I looked at some information about you, and you've been a lighting consultant, a security director for major hotels, commercial properties, and retail businesses. So can you describe how did you even get into the writing space?
Well, I'm a lot older than you guys. I'm the Woodstock generation, all of that. And, when I was around your age and I was in college, so we're talking about civil rights movement, the Vietnam War, long hair hippies and radicalism. And I was an English major and an Asian studies minor. So I had journalism in my background. So I was already writing during those very vivid times of, and during those times, the most violent times in New York City, Chinatown history. So I've been writing stories and everything and anything that came into my mind during those very vivid years in American history. And so that's where my writing background comes from. I mean, it was just such an inspiring time, and just so many stories of us as Asian Americans in this country, just inspired to write about all of that.
Would you say that or would you have kind of like a common message that you would want your readers to know, maybe just past the mystery scope of your books, but to get to know what you're about? Is there a message behind your works for Henry?
Well, it's kind of like, you know, we're more than the stereotypes. We're more than that little background in the movie. There's real live people here in the immigrant demi-monde, in our everyday Asian American lives, real people struggling for their little piece of the American dream. I mean, we're living it, we're breathing it, we're struggling in it, especially now in the pandemic, and we have real stories. And that's where it's all coming from. And, you know, we're more than that. And the media and Hollywood and everything has, you know, it's slowly changing. We're beginning to tell some more of our own stories. You'll see it in, you know, in film and short stories and other parts of media. It's slowly happening, but we're more than what they present us to be.
Well, that was such a powerful answer. Thank you so much for that. Kind of going off of, you know, the different messages that you want to get out there and the different causes that you're supporting, I kind of want to bring it to Terence, because your work, seeds of your work has different charities and different, like BLM, the Me Too movement, and you know, you're kind. All I hear is that, like, you're an artist, and then you kind of were offered these deals, and you got reached out to. So I guess my first question for you would just be, how did you get into art, and then how did that progress from there?
It's funny because I've always been into art. I just never really thought to pursue it as a career, especially, you know, growing up and going to college. I went to college when the internet was just starting to boom, so the logical thing to do then was to do something like programming or computer science or you know, something technology based. Everything was heading towards, you know, the digital age. So I tried computer science, that didn't work out. I ended up getting a degree in film, and you know, from film, I didn't really have like a crazy demo reel or anything, so I ended up kind of falling into a little bit of web design. And then from there, I went into graphic design and kind of just brought all my passion for art back into it, and have kind of steered my way back into doing analog art. So now doing some more painting and hand lettering, things like that. So painting on shoes. So I've done the digital thing, and you know, I'm finding the passion back for analog now. So it's been kind of a weird roundabout journey to get here where I'm at with art, but it's an ongoing kind of process, I guess.
Hi. There's a little bit of pause right at the moment, but thank you, Terence, for saying that, or mentioning that your journey isn't linear, right? And yes, and it's, you know, definitely nothing like traditional work. And again, you're opening up that space, like, for folks, and sending that message to everyone. And you know, speaking of message, I do want to direct this question to AJ, and like, how and in what ways do you said you wanted to be a role model for the younger generation? Like, how in what ways do you do that through your music, through the community work? Talk to us more about that.
Hello. So, for me, so let me explain what I think a role model is first. A role model is like someone that can lead and someone that people want to follow, right? So, for me to be a role model, for the younger generations, I have to, I guess, show that I'm worthy of following by through my actions and my actions in the community. So also, sorry, yeah, and uh,
You're good, AJ. I mean,
sorry.
it's all right. It's all right. Just wanted to know more about like your community work and how how you are a role model in that aspect. Like I know you are a part of the OCA lit dropping team, and how does leadership shine through in your community work?
So so I was a leader, a team lead for OCA actually, and me and my friend Miguel, we lit dropped in Sugarland. I think that's, yeah, Sugarland, and we raised the voter registration turnout by 15% voting. And so what lit dropping is where we give out the voter registration forms, and then they could also fill out census, which will help bring out, or which will help bring back money to the community. And I don't know how many we lit drop. I think a total of 100,000 houses or whatever. I think 100,000, 150. I don't remember, but it wasn't just me. It was obviously like the whole lit dropping team.
Thank you so much for answering, AJ. We appreciate it. And I also want to extend that the question a little bit to Ashley and how you share you are a role model for and giving space for a younger generation as well, and teaching them your passion for music. So can you talk to us more about that, like how you are setting up that space for others?
Yeah, so I love the idea that how I'm basically a role model for my students. I definitely do see it as that way because teachers not only teach, well, I don't only teach cello, I teach my students how to be like good human beings, how to be responsible, how to have self-discipline, have hard work. And so not only do I think of myself as a role model, but I also look to others for inspiration. And so I also have role models in my life that have helped me become the role model I am today for my students. And so I just love the idea how the role model like image passes on from teacher to teacher. And now that I'm a teacher and I've been through college and have my own studio, it's very awesome to me that I can inspire my students and be that person for them to look up to.
Thank you so much, Ashley, for your answer. So I want to actually direct this next question um, to Royal. Hold on one second. So can you explain like to the audience like on how curatorial administration, like what that is, and the exhibition exhibition planning and how that's intertwined with your community organization?
So basically, curatorial would just be getting a bunch of people together and then talking about how we can create like an art show and exhibition that works off of each other's work. And I guess that sort of organizing translates into community work as well because you have to, um, mesh and collaborate with a bunch of different personalities and different people of, different backgrounds. Sometimes you clash, but then you have to work it out because there is a goal and it's community work, and we have to put a lot of our differences aside in order for things to be successful. And if we let that interfere with our community work, then it's all just kind of ego at that point. So we got to put a lot of that aside.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Royal. And I'm this question is actually going to extend to two of our other artists as well. Like I want to know, Matt, about you know about your collaborations. And I know what Royal said is like, sometimes there's clashes, but sometimes like there are ones that work out very, very well. Can you highlight a collaboration that was like most like one of the meaningful ones that you recently had?
Well, one of the meaningful ones was that event that we collaborated with OCA, with Unipro, with with Fonz, to celebrate Filipino History Month. I think, not I think, but yeah, definitely. I thought that was such a powerful, engaging event where we just all came together, and made it happen. Not only that, but just to be surrounded by folks who has the same passion, who has the same mindset and motivation to spread the mission, and also to educate, which is, I think, one of the most important things, um, because not everyone has a community, and we know that, and the whole idea of not gatekeeping, and being able to welcome each and everyone, no matter what level they are with their talents, or their journey in their creativity, or their self-discovery. I think we did a really great and amazing job at welcoming everyone, which is basically the most important thing at this moment.
Thank you so much, Matt. So a little bit about that. It was our community journey. It was like Matt said, during Filipino American History Month, and we just moved whoever was able to attend. Again, safety, right? To recognize like our activism, and recognizing that we all can make a difference through just the little things that we do, right? And having that next step forward. How do we support and truly support our community and across communities, right? And I want to direct again that same question to Terence. Like, is there a notable collaboration that you want to share with us today, and what you learned from it?
A notable collaboration. As far as like one individual project, maybe not specifically, but I have been volunteering over the past several years with Houston Chinese Youth Camp, and I've been kind of dedicating some time to helping them with their marketing graphics, and some merch designs, and some video work and things like that. And it's when I first went, I wasn't really sure, what was going to come of it. I was brought on as a photographer. All I knew was that I was going to basically photograph some kids doing a summer camp. But then it became like I came to realize that the camp was really about building people, and it was about helping our youth learn how to be inclusive and how to be compassionate. And it's that kind of thing. It's not even about art or anything at that point. It's just like art was my way in, but it was, I found something that was bigger than myself and bigger than the art. So I mean, that's probably the one.
Thank you so much, sharing for Terence. I do. I just remember what Ashley was saying, and how like she teaches her students to become like amazing human beings. And so I feel like everyone on this room like shares that commonality. And I know that I want to like to extend the same question to Henry. I know that you've had so much experience, and we want to know more. And if there is a particular collaboration that you've had that you want to share and was notable, and want to share with us today.
Well, more recently, we've completed a short film based on my writing. So I think in a matter of a couple of weeks, we're going to have, it's like a half-hour short. It's called The Father's Son. It's starring, I don't know if you know, Ronnie Chang, Tai Ma, Perry Young from Warriors. We have like a really cool cast, and excited about it. And in terms of collaborations, I'm just flabbergasted we were able to get those 3 individuals, and it's in the can and it's just being edited in its final stages now. So we're excited about that. And I mean, I just hope you all get a chance to see it probably
Henry,
January.
was that like an inside scoop? That was an inside scoop, wasn't it? You have to send us the link. Again, if anyone who's watching, like we should have a watch party or online watch party. I don't know how that happens, but wow, that's amazing. So
yeah, it's gritty, it's gangsters, it's all based on my writing. So if you like bloody stuff, Chinatown gang wars, like tune in.
Yeah, it's real. I mean, I grew up. I was in the East Coast until I was 17. I wasn't allowed to like go out past a certain point. My parents were very strict, but okay, well, enough about that actually. But no, seriously, looking forward to that again. We would love to have the links to do it. Excuse me, to view it, and yeah, let's support Henry, guys. Like everyone who's watching, everyone on this call. But yeah, I just want to transition to our next question. So the question is for everyone is, given the pandemic, has your organization's audience changed? What are some new goals as we, during this time, have we transitioned to and as a socially distanced era? So how have they changed, and how do you keep them engaged, or how do you still operate during this time? I know that was like kind of a long, lengthy, deep question, but I would like to pass this question to start. Royal.
So my audience, oh man, that's different. I've realized that I've had to download a bunch of different apps that I've never used before, or started using things like the Instagram Reels or Keybase to communicate with different people. I'm not in the loop. Like I'm like this close to downloading TikTok, but I don't want to. I feel like somebody's twisting my arm. Um, but uh, and so I think like my engagement has been a lot of like my IG stories, um, and it's gotten a lot more personal where people get to peer into my life. Seeing what I'm doing in the pandemic, like me gardening and cutting things down. And that's kept the engagement. That's not my purpose. I'm not trying to engage my art audience, but accidentally my engagement has been towards like gardening and my activism.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Royal. So I actually want to modify and maybe extend this question. So Royal mentioned gardening and projects and what have you, and I feel like during this time we all kind of had to, like I said in the beginning, look inward and kind of reassess, and then maybe there's some like new things that we've developed, or new skills that we picked up. And I want to toss it to like AJ to see if like you've picked up anything specific or something that you're actually particularly working on in terms of the self that you want to share with everyone today.
Yeah, so during the pandemic, since we weren't allowed to go out, right? I feel like I had more time to just be with myself and practice more, and I guess think more about what to write next. And it's given me a lot of inspiration and time to practice, which is making me better
Thanks, AJ. No,
right now. Yeah.
before you like mute yourself again, but can you tell us more about? I know that we featured your song Hearts. Do you have any more songs? And is this a part of like an EP or something? Do you want to tell us more about that?
So I have yeah, Hearts is the title track for my EP, and it's called Hearts. And so basically this EP is about what you feel in your heart, right? So the first three songs are about love, and the fourth song is about heartbreak, and then the fifth song is about self-love, right? Um so in the EP, I we tried to make it like a story, I guess. So if you listen to it from 1 to 5, it goes through a story. But uh yeah, that's probably all I can think of.
No, thank you so much for sharing. Everyone, you can actually listen to his EP on Spotify. And yeah, check it out. And oh, we have a question for Ashley. Um, you just started a new music venture. What has your experience as an artist, and entrepreneur been like? Ooh.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I am a performer, I am an educator. So on the performance side, not much has been going on due to COVID. So I've definitely been leaning heavily towards teaching. And so I've definitely learned a lot of things building up my own cello studio. I've reached out to tons of people, orchestra directors, other cello teachers, and other like violin teachers too, just everyone in the music community in Austin. It's definitely been a lot tougher since we are in a pandemic and some parents prefer in-person lessons and just stuff like that. But I think just getting the word out there helps a lot, and that's what I've been doing, and that's how my studio has been growing. And I appreciate all my students and parents for supporting me and still continuing with me on Zoom lessons, because I know teaching through Zoom is definitely something you have to get used to. It's really weird, but I think my students and I are pretty used to it now. So I would say it's a lot of adjusting, especially on this virtual platform. But yeah, just as an entrepreneur side, like being my own boss, I definitely am surprised to say that I love it. It's really cool to like manage my own students, manage all the payment and finances for now, since I don't have a lot. We'll see how that is in the future when I have more students. But I love being my own boss. It's just awesome to do whatever I want to do with my own cello studio.
Wonderful, wonderful. And just to nicely transition into that, and I hope maybe everyone in this panel can answer this question, is like, what is everyone's like possible end vision? I know these are weird times, but what do you imagine? Like, what's your end vision? Like, and what do you hope to achieve within your work in the next 5 years? Yeah.
All right, I can jump into this one.
Okay.
It's funny because this my answer doesn't actually have to do with the art side or the career side of it, but more of like kind of the life side of it. I would love within 5 years, I don't even know if that's possible, but it's constantly trying. Within 5 years, I would love to be able to just find balance between career, family, personal, mental health, everything. Like I feel like the last 10, 15 years or so has just been me trying to focus on the career, so then my personal life suffers, and then I come back to my personal life and then my career suffers, and I've just been jumping back and forth like on this roller coaster. And especially now with the pandemic, and we're all stuck at home and people are stressed out and in different situations, and mental health is more important than ever, but then everyone's career is probably struggling as well. So balance is a huge thing, and I really hope that I can figure that out, if it's even possible to figure out.
Wait, should I go?
Yeah.
Okay. So, in 5 years, I'm hoping to. Wait, I don't know if this makes me arrogant or if this just makes me hopeful, like, or whatever you call it. But in 5 years, I want to be someone that people can look up to, right? And And by doing so, that means I have to be out there, which means I have to get signed. I have to be big enough for people to notice, right? And so that in doing so, they can look up to me and see how my personality is and follow my example and be like, I don't like, I guess I wouldn't say like, obviously I'm human and I make mistakes. So I wouldn't say like a better person, but be a person that can help the community.
Yeah, and just being authentic,
Mhm.
right? And because I know that a lot of it, I just know like from speaking with you personally that that's something that you also have mentioned as well.
Mm.
And just speaking, I think Matt kind of mentioned it, just speaking from your heart
Yeah.
and all of that. So thank you. Does anyone else want to answer that question? If not, we can always pop up a question from the community on the screen. Oh, okay.
I'd like to
Please,
add on
please.
something. Well, you know, for Filipinx Arts of Houston and Alief Art House, the goal is really to be able to represent the artists, you know, with their work, and and show that there are artists out there who look like you, who you can look up to and look like you, um, and that has been the goal, of both organizations since the beginning. You know, for Filipinx Arts of Houston, the goal was representation, because me, you know, looking at history books, looking at art history books, looking at museum catalogs and museum collections and stuff like that, I never see any Filipino artists on there, especially here in, you know, in Houston, um, when, you know, there are obviously a community of artists who exist and who make work constantly. So I guess the end goal would be to see that, um, so that the younger generation of Filipino artists, can say that, hey, we have folks that we can look up to, that we can approach, and that's the reason why the community exists as well, to make that knowledge, to make that wisdom, to make that experience accessible. Um, and then, you know, for Alief Art House, a lot of folks has or have, suggested if I wanted another shipping container, or if I wanted, um, a bigger venue. And I always say, like, well, you know, knowing the neighborhood of Alief, I wanted to keep it simple and accessible. So I wanted to keep the shipping container as it is. But then at the same time, we'll be bringing in bigger artists so that the neighborhood can experience top-notch art, um, you know, while focusing on BIPOC artists, and, you know, and then they don't have to really go out of their way or go out of their neighborhood to see world-class art. You know, it's right there in the neighborhood, and also thinking about accessibility.
Yes, I was gonna say having it accessible for all of the community is super important, right? Um, oh, sorry. Please, I was just I was resonating with that, Matt. If you wanted, if I cut you off, I apologize. No, okay. Um, so Ashley Royal Henry, like for same, I extend the question to all of you as well. Like, what is your envision, or what do you hope to achieve in terms of your work, or probably in like in life in the next 5 years for all of you?
I can answer that. My vision is very long term. I just finished like Artist Inc. and there's the 1 year, 5 year, 10 year, whatever vision. And I really just want to be prolific in like I want to combine art and community work and organizing. And I know that it feels like it's already a given. Um, and the unsheltered folks that I serve in the community, like they're artists and they're people writing, and I feel like I want to shine a light on, you know, their struggles. It's not their fault, but like the fact that there's people out there that are like, if they had the means, just financially, just a little bit, or privilege, they could be somewhere, but they're struggling in the streets, and they're trying to write books in like the dark with their notepads, or they're depending on people to bring them art supplies. So something with that. Yeah.
I'm gonna before Ashley and possibly Henry answer this question. I do want to, if you can talk just a little bit more about that, on how we can help. I know that you have some links on your site, alternate reality.
Yes. So I do have on links to my site. It's alternateroyality.com//support, and it's got my Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, and then Google volunteer form. So if you feel moved enough to help serve the community on Sundays, we cook home cooked meals for 120 plus people. We serve them. We provide essentials. Right now, we have a clothing drive for for cold weather items. And so there's a drop off at my studio. My house is kind of looking like a storage unit right now. But so those are so many ways you could help.
Thank you so much, Royal, for letting us know how we can help. You know, I definitely still have some, you know, winter clothes. Again, I'm from the East Coast, so we layer up. So I have some to spare. So I will personally get in contact with you on that. Henry or Ashley, did you want to share as well?
Ladies first.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to say I love hearing everyone's goals and aspirations. It's so inspiring to me. And for me, my future goals, I honestly have no idea because of COVID still, but I do know for one thing is that I never want to stop learning and developing professionally myself, because I want to provide my students the best education they can. And of course, I have my goal is to grow my studio even more. And so, like I said in my video before, like building up and managing my own studio has been a long-term dream of mine, and to be able to do it right now, especially during a pandemic, has been the best experience so far for me.
Well, beautiful. I don't know if I muted on time, but Henry, please share.
So I've been really impatient. I can't even think 5 years ahead. I'm like, let's get through this pandemic shit first. And you know, like I'm thinking 6 months ahead. It's been a crazy ass year for me. The lockdown, you know, not go out. That's okay, man. I'm writing at home. I'm not, you know, I'm just home. I can't go out. I'm just writing. So I'm just like looking ahead a year. Like I said, we have a short film coming out. Hopefully in the next 6 months, somebody's going to say, hey, you know, that's going to make a really good TV series. And we want to buy the rights to your books and your screenplays, or what's in your Bible and what do you got next? Hey, I'm ready for you. So that's what I'm looking for the next year. I can't even see 2, 3, 4, 5 years ahead. I mean, you youngins, that's good. You got all the time in the world, but I'm impatient. I ain't got time for that. I'm just like, you know, 1 year at a time, and that's it. And it's been a crazy ass year. I'm looking for a good year once we get out of this COVID, and hopefully everybody here and all my friends, all my artists will you know, have opportunities to do all those things you love and reach out to all those people that you're trying to reach and make an impact, and, you know, do all those things that we're going to change this country so that, you know, it serves all of us. And, you know, we're way more than, you know, the stereotypes and everything that people perceive us to be.
Oh, yes. Oh, Henry, yes. I definitely agree. I definitely agree. Wow. No, I appreciate all of you guys here. I mean, But I do want to open up to like the audience for any questions that you have for any of our panelists. If you guys can. Oh, question for any artist. Have you had any realizations relating to your art process and that happened during or because of the pandemic quarantine? And that's from Marahuyo. Oh my goodness. So Marahuyo, actually, quick plug. I'm wearing her earrings right now. Check out her site. Yeah, visit her on Instagram. But yeah, that's the question for all of you. Any realizations relating to your art, process, topic, etc., that happened during or because of the pandemic?
I can answer that real quick. So I feel like the pandemic is a portal, and I'm going through this portal right now. And what I used to feel like I had time for or energy to, I feel like it's all a distraction now. Like I was wasting my time. It seems like I was wasting my time prior to this pandemic, and now that I've had time to do a lot of forced or accidental shadow integration, I've learned a lot about myself, and that the process is a lot more authentic if I've had all this time to, sit and simmer in my thoughts, instead of kind of like going out and looking for inspiration. I'm like in my space, finding inspiration here that's always been here.
So, man, so the pandemic has kind of taught me two things. One is I'm not done exploring yet art-wise. Like I thought, like if you'd asked me 5 years ago, I would have told you I want to be a lettering artist and that's it. I'm just going to do lettering, hand lettering for the rest of my life. Like that's where I want to focus. And now that I've had basically this whole year to sit here and explore painting and explore customizing shoes and explore building cosplay costumes and like doing all this other random stuff, it's really just shown me that hand lettering is not the end all be all. Like I still haven't tried so many things, and like you never know what you can discover if you just stick to one thing all the time. I mean, if you find that thing that you love doing it, by all means go for it, but it doesn't hurt to keep exploring. And then the other thing that I found out is that through doing all this exploration, I found a common theme in all my work is that everything that I was doing was focused on one subject, which was kind of like the sneaker, sportswear, basketball realm. And so I think that just kind of made me realize, hey, if I had one topic or one niche to focus on, what would it be? It would be that, because that's what I've been doing just by choice with my own time, with my own art. I've just been focusing on that this whole time. And so I think that's probably where I need to be steering my career once this pandemic starts to let up.
Thank you for sharing. And any other artists want to answer that question? Go ahead, Matt.
Well, one of the things that I've been thinking about, this whole pandemic has been especially focused on accessibility. Because I am privileged to be able to have a space and be able to give other folks the opportunity to show their work and to present their work in a setting that is, in a very well, curated professional setting. It kind of like bummed me out that like, hey, we can't do any art openings or any type of gathering for the art house. And so it kind of pushed me to start thinking about filmmaking, video work, documenting the shows in that sense, so that because everyone is online nowadays, it kind of forced me to document the artworks and make it accessible online. But then the shows are still, accessible in person if anyone wanted to see the shows in person. It's just that, we have to do it by appointment only. But then, it's kind of like, I don't know, I feel like there's so many ways, like what Terence is saying, to never stop exploring, my interpretation would also be to never stop being curious. I found myself making digital work. It's kind of like the opposite of Terence. I found myself making digital work in this time. I was dabbling into like Instagram filters, video editing and stuff like that, and it kind of like, because I was very uncomfortable with anything digital, because I just did everything with my hands and physical work and all that. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's very interesting what the pandemic can do, or what a pandemic can do for an artist. So yeah. Hey, little Terence.
No, I love that. I love that, we can have we have guests too, right? I mean, it's a part of this life right now. So it's all good. I know that sometimes, Matt, we hear Rex in the background, but it's is what it is. Hi. But yeah, no, to your point, Matt, and about accessibility and the fact that we're all documenting and archiving and having everything shift towards digital. It's so important to have those um, that saved, right? So for Henry, it's like all these stories are in a book, but now it's evolved into a film, into a video. And it's, I know that at least for our community, I can speak for our community, like we're starting to like digitally archive things. Like for example, I'm gonna quick plug the Filipinos of Houston. I know that Ate Christie and Cook Poizo and Jenna, co-authors of that book, are kind of working with the Rice archives, right, and really documenting our history here in Houston as Filipinos. And it's just so nice that we're looking into digital and all of that, right? And with AJ, with your music video and representation in that aspect, super important. I want to, if anyone else wanted to answer that question, feel free. But if not, we're going to go into the next community question, because there's a lot of questions apparently. So I'm so happy to bring those up into the space. Okay, we can go to the next community question. So what do you have for us? For Ashley Wang, have you ever created a piece on the cello? And if you haven't, would you like to one day?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have not yet. I mean, I have dabbled, but I haven't like actually written it out on paper. But I definitely love to one day. I love to explore like different styles of music because I am predominantly classical. That's what I majored in. Definitely would love to play more pieces that are composed by women, composed by people of color. Yeah, that's definitely, as a performer, I would definitely love to perform those kinds of pieces that are not performed as often.
We're looking forward to hearing that if you end up, playing it. So, this next question is for Henry. Question to Henry: how have you seen NYC Chinatown change throughout the years? What are your hopes for Chinatown for the years to come? Ooh, Audrey, perfect question.
Oh my God, I've been in Chinatown. I've lived here 60 years, so I've seen 6 decades of change. I've seen it from when I was a kid. It was 2 or 3 little blocks, 2 or 3 little streets, and now, before the pandemic, it was river to river, East River to Hudson from down here, Lower Manhattan, all the way up to 14th Street. So community has really exploded over the decades. This last couple of years, because of pandemic, everybody's moving out, and and we've had gentrification, and neighborhood has changed so much, just so much, with different types of immigration. When I was first coming up here, it was mostly us Chinese, but there was Japanese, Korean, Filipino, Vietnamese, and we're all down here now. Those of us who are still here, we're surviving. We're not, we're not giving up on the neighborhood. There's a lot going on down here, right now, and we're just like, the struggle is there, and we're up for the struggle, and we're doing all the things we need to do to get the neighborhood and its businesses and its nonprofits and everything back up to speed this coming year. So yeah, it's changed a lot. We're struggling, but like every other struggle we had, I think the Chinatown will get through it. I mean, we've got people dining on the streets now, and it's, like it's December, January. I don't know how many people are going to eat out on the sidewalk, but here in New York, but we're looking forward to this new year. 2021, we're going to come back, and the neighborhood is going to survive in all its different aspects.
Thank you, Henry, for your answer. I mean, I also want to plug in. We also have someone from Chinatown who's actually going to be doing a workshop later on during the weekday. Cynthia excuse me. And she is the founder of Wonton in a Million, and I know that she's also doing works in the Chinatown community as well. So, and I think her family owns like Oriental Garden restaurant. And oh yes, please register to her workshop down there, down at our website, and check her out. But no, thank you so much, Henry, for that insight. Oh, we have a question for AJ. Is there a specific genre of music you want to gravitate towards? Similar to how Ashley mentioned exploring other genres, in what direction do you want to move forward in your music? That's a great question.
Sorry, let me read it again.
Sure. Is there a specific genre of music you want to gravitate towards? Similar to Ashley mentioned exploring different genres, like what direction do you want to move your music toward? Like, do you want to stay in pop? Do you want to move toward like R&B?
I mean, I've tried to explore other genres. I just haven't released any. It's just, I feel like pop is the type of music I want to do, because I don't know if I'm gonna be good in the other genres, like I don't know, like hip hop or whatever, and rap and all that. I can't do that. I'm more of a singer, so maybe I guess some R&B with and all that, but I don't know about the other ones because I've tried them, and no, I can't do it.
Thank you, AJ. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to like more of your works. I know that you have like maybe 2 other songs previous to your EP, so check those out. I'm a fan of like your first work, Call Again. It was very catchy. Yeah. Hold on one second. Do we have another question? Ooh, Abby, do you want to ask the last question? Okay.
All right. Sorry about that, but thank you, Ria, for just holding it down. I think for our one last question, we do have people here from different experience and different backgrounds, whether you've been in this for decades or you're just starting out. I think what you've seen so far in your respective profession or in your respective art, what would you advise someone who wants to start on the path that you're on? And what would be your advice the moment they reach the first obstacle and what you recall as far as your journey so far. And we could go ahead and just popcorn it over to Ashley first.
That is a really good question. Since I just started my own studio, I think a lot about things I could have done to help make it go smoother. And definitely, I would say one of the things is to not be afraid to ask for help. I honestly reached out to so many people in the Austin community, and it was just like cold calling people, like tons of emails. And honestly, that got me pretty good amount of students, and just asking for help. People are always willing to help you, especially if you're in their profession and just starting out. And I just love that Austin has a great community of music teachers to help me since I was brand new in the community for teaching. Yeah, just not being afraid to ask for help, and also just getting the word out there, just like having your name, making flyers and stuff, and just getting really involved in the community and connecting with others, like asking other teachers to have lunch or have coffee. That goes away. Honestly, lots of networking for sure. Yeah. I guess I'll popcorn it to Henry.
Yeah, I just want to say to everybody, tell your stories. Write your stories, tell your own personal stories. They're important. They're important to you, whether you want to write a novel or a short story or a poem or a narrative. Write your story, tell your stories, because if you don't tell your stories, somebody else is going to tell your story for you. And it's going to sound like your story, but it's not going to be your story because you didn't tell it. So I tell people this all the time. Write your stories, tell your stories. Doesn't matter what kind of, you figure out what audience you need to reach, but tell your stories.
Thank you so much. And I'll direct the question to Matt. What do you have to say?
Well, like what Ashley said, don't be afraid to ask. And that's one of the biggest things that is like one of the best advice that you could ever give or ever get. Don't be afraid to ask. Be bold, be fierce. And one of the things that I admire with younger folks nowadays is that they're ready and they're fierce. And I admire that, because when I was starting off, I was nothing like that. But and also knowing that there is going to be a community who's going to back you up. And I'm speaking specifically for Filipino artists who are there starting off, or trying to tell their parents of, hey, I want to be majoring in art in college. Don't be afraid. You have a whole community to support you. Because when I was, my goal basically is to be that type of person I needed when I was starting off. So yeah, don't be afraid.
Thank you so much. And I think, Terence, what would you have to add?
I would say just not to, like, it's easy to be afraid to kind of put yourself out there. And I think, one of the most important things is to just not be afraid to get out there. Just put yourself out there, be your authentic self, and, show people what you're all about. Get in front of the camera and talk to it, and just get used to talking about yourself. That kind of self-promotion, self-marketing, confidence, building all of those aspects of your personal self, like, that's really going to help you a lot in the long run. So yeah, just be authentic and put yourself out there.
And then AJ, I know, you're still starting out, and, you are one of our younger panelists, but what are your words of advice so far on this journey?
Um, yeah, so some of my words of advice is like Terence said, get yourself out there. And at this day and age, it's so much easier because of through like so much like TikTok per se. Like so much people just get like known just by doing the most random things, and that's how I guess you just get yourself out there. And so yeah, since I just started like first challenge, I don't know really. I guess the first challenge is not being able to market myself personally, right? Since I started out during the pandemic. So I'm not able to like meet you face to face and tell you what I am. And so what I can right now I just use, I guess, uh what is it, like online to market myself. And yeah, that's basically what I have to say.
And obviously, last but not least, some few more words of empowerment. Royal, what would you have to say to our audience?
I wanted to piggyback off of what Henry said to tell our stories. As much as we feel that our stories are unique, uh, in the beginning, I was kind of telling other people's stories and hoping just like throwing things at the wall, trying to see what stuck. But it was less authentic. But then I started telling my own stories, and people would tell me like, "Oh my God, like that! I thought I was the only one." And it was like a beacon. Like you tell your stories, and you put out a beacon out there, like, "Hey, you're not alone. There's other people just like you. Let's gather."
Thank you so much. And thank you again. Thank all of y'all again, really, for taking the time to sit down with us and just share your stories of how you've given back to the community. And also, thank you to the audience for tuning in and just giving these panelists the recognition they deserve. People don't realize that it's y'all's work that we've looked to in this time of the pandemic, while we're, staying at home and being socially distanced, whether it's reading a book or listening to music or looking at art and finding ways to enjoy art outdoors. So thank you so much. And just a quick last plug for me, make sure you go to starryniteartsfest.com to see more info about these performers and artists. You can find their websites and their social media just on that website. And I'm going to hand it off to Trish to close us out. Thank you so much.
Oh, I mean, I guess it's me. All right. So yes, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in, just as what Abby said. And these are wonderful panelists. Like, please support them. If, I don't know when this is going to let up. I definitely want to connect with all of you in person, safely, of course, but all of you are so amazing. And again, just what Abby said, check them out on our website. All of their handles and websites are being like just popping up right now. Go ahead and follow them right now. Again, you can always support our artists' work as well on the Facebook Marketplace, which is also connected to our website. So go ahead and support them. I understand it's like the holidays, so it could be a perfect like gift for your family and friends. Just a little bit about what's upcoming in the programming, especially tomorrow and this upcoming weekend. Tomorrow we're gonna be tuning in at 6 p.m. and we're gonna be showcasing the lineup for Giving Up Old Habits. And so if like I said, go to the website, go to the live stream tab, and then set a reminder for yourself to tune in. Right? That's our lineup for tomorrow. And then for Sunday, we're actually going to have Amy Malkin's workshop, Healing Through, we're going to have first Fighting for Family, a film by Lan Nguyen. She is an amazing film director. She also gives back to the Vietnamese community in California. It's 30 minutes. Please come and support this short film. It's so meaningful. Again, these are real stories. And then the next feature we have for Sunday is Amy Malkin's workshop, healing through walking meditation. You need to register to attend. And so again, you can find all of that on our website. Sign up now. She's an amazing, amazing artist and so real. Please, please sign up for her workshop. And yeah, that's basically it. Abby and I want to thank you for tuning in to our opening night. We can't wait to see all of you in the upcoming weeks. Again, attend our workshops. And the lineup next week, this tomorrow and this upcoming weekend is going to be amazing. So have a wonderful night. Take care, rest up, and I'll see you tomorrow.
I'll take this time to fix myself, 'cause I will be the best of me, then you will see. Should've never left, 'cause you will never see me again. Baby, if you need me, baby, if you want me, will you ever call me again? So walk on this path alone to see what you see in me. Sometimes it'll be too hard, but it's worth it if I can be free. So tell me, am I doing alright? Am I the person that you wanna see?
That has been disconnected or is no longer in service. Please check the number and try your call again.